Yeah, that's perfect. Good.
What you back and ain't no excuse. Soon I scan the booty.
What's going on, everybody? Today we're back with our 5th episode. Just want to say thank you so much to everyone that watched the previous episodes. And now we're expanding our horizon a little bit. As you can see, this is a little bit of a different setup.
Totally different.
We got bikes here.
Bikes there.
We got the man behind all the magic. Go ahead and introduce
What's up,
yourself.
guys? I'm John. This is my toy house. I build motorcycles and anything that goes fast that you probably shouldn't have.
Fast toys.
Fast toys. So I'll give you a little bit of a background on myself. I used to do custom carbon fiber and composite work. I was in the automotive industry for 5 years doing auto body, not only for a company, but for myself. Had my own auto body shop for 3 years, started when I was in high school. And this has kind of been progressing. I've been working on bikes for about 2 years now. I've been riding since I was about 12. I started with dirt bikes and ended up racing motocross, and then I ended up riding sport bikes and doing a little bit of stunts and being the kid that you don't want to be. Bad influence. Wasn't a good idea.
Okay.
Were you out on the dunes kind of hitting the rails?
Oh no, I was talking about more like 95.
Okay.
You know
It's on the road.
those guys, like, you ever get passed by the guys on the sport bikes and they're lane splitting, doing a wheelie, doing like 120?
Yeah, going crazy.
Yeah, that's how I learned how to ride on the street.
God.
So
So we're dealing with the professional right here.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Jack of all trades, expert of none, I guess.
What my question to you is, what about motorcycles that got you started? Like, what made you get started dealing with fast toys, motorcycles, cars, carbon fibers? Because you have a lot of knowledge. Like, what about it that attracted you to that?
Well, I've always been mechanically inclined ever since I was a little kid. My parents will tell you stories about when I was, still in diapers, talking about construction and moving stuff and building stuff. And when I first got on a dirt bike when I was younger, I fell in love with it. Just the feeling, being free, having complete control, and kind of being able to be myself.
Yeah.
And have a lot of fun with that.
So you express yourself through riding.
Well, not so much riding. I express myself through building. When I'm riding, it helps me, dial back and calm down, and be myself. Helps me think, because a lot of times, and you guys know, as being entrepreneurs, you have a lot of things going on in your head at all times. You're always thinking. You're always progressing. You always have new ideas, and I have them all the time. Whenever I get out on a bike, it's calming. I can, govern my thoughts a little bit. I can, figure out what do I need to do, what do I want to do, where do I want to go, and I can
So
plan
it's
a little bit.
kind of like a space for you where
Therapy.
you're able.
It's
Yeah.
therapeutic.
Yeah.
Very
Therapeutic.
therapeutic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That
So
makes sense.
you got a question?
Yeah. So I know you just mentioned that you're not really like a Harley guy or a sports bike kind of guy. So if someone's getting started, right, and they don't know what kind of bike they want to get,
Hey,
do you
don't
think,
look at me.
do you think they should start off on a sports bike, that shit that goes like hella fast, or like a nice cruiser where they can just kind of like enjoy the ride? What would your take be on that?
My first is always get a dirt bike, because landing on dirt and landing on pavement are two very different things. However,
Have you ever landed on pavement?
once, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell us.
Walk us
through.
I was gonna walk us through.
Alright, so it was my first accident, and lady had road rage, didn't want me on the road. I was on 95, I was doing about 80, and she ran me into the concrete median, or was pushing me into it. I didn't hit it, but I was going alongside of it, and she didn't like that I was there. And I went down, bike slid a very good distance, and I just slid on my back. I was in full race suit, so it had, the polymer and everything to protect me. I slid for about 300 feet and
my
missed
gosh.
a pothole by, my butt cheek.
By the
And,
hand.
So luckily, if you whatever bike you get, especially if you're gonna get into the sport bike or super sport bike, whatever it is, always get frame sliders on your bike. And the
Okay.
reason why is if you go down and things like that, you're gonna protect your bike, protect your investment, and that's what we're all about.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to fix a bike if it has
I mean,
frame
and
sliders.
most importantly, protect yourself too.
We
Yeah.
care about
Well,
the-
and
we care about the
yeah,
human.
if you're riding, depending on what you're riding, you put on and wear what's going to protect you from what you're dealing with. You're not going to put on a full race suit if you're just bobbing around doing the speed limit and hitting some back roads around your area. However, jeans, boots, leather jacket or some type of
Heavy
protective
stuff, yeah.
and a helmet. And definitely gloves. Gloves are one of the most important things.
I like how you push safety.
Yes.
Okay, and then you build bikes, and you're very hands-on, and you say that's your passion.
Yeah, guys, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt. These bikes, he actually built them. So like, it's not like he buys them and sells them. Like he actually builds this stuff.
Well, I buy and then tear apart and then sell and
Yeah,
rebuild.
you're
something
basically making
else.
bikes from scratch.
Yeah, I have one. I mean, you guys can't see it. It's out of the frame. There's it's out of the frame and it is a frame. I got a bike. I got a Harley. It was actually it's my personally my first Harley Davidson, and I bought it. I can't tell you what it's for because the person doesn't know it yet, but there's something going on with it. It's torn down, and this is kind of where my starting point is. We'll actually.
It's literally just like bare bones. Like
Yeah.
bare frame.
Here, just pull it. Just move it over here. Just pick it up.
Nah, we'll get a
We'll get some shots
We'll
and
get
whatnot.
yeah,
some shots.
we'll show you guys.
Yeah. So.
Go ahead with your question. I didn't mean to interrupt.
My question to you is, have you looked at anybody else who build bikes? Have you looked at any manufacturer and what they bring to the table and try to emulate that, or how do you who do you emulate or look after when you're building bikes?
So a good, I don't know if I call him a friend, I guess an acquaintance. So Paul Jr. Tuttle from OCC.
You have to elaborate.
So if you guys have ever seen Orange County Choppers on TV, you know who the Tuttles are. You have Madman Senior and
The guy with the chops.
Yeah.
The chopper.
On the
Okay.
choppers.
Yes.
His son,
Okay.
the other one, he started Paul Jr. Design. I actually met him. Funny enough, so a little bit more of a background. I used to be a competition clay shooter when I was younger, and I traveled a lot. But my uncle, his friend has a shooting range in his backyard. So, funny enough, his neighbor is Paul Jr. He came over and shot with us, and we started talking about bikes a little bit, and I'm actually going to go up there and see him one of these days. I don't know when, but I kind of emulate and work off of my own ideas, my own thoughts, and what I've seen, and I try to integrate things that really shouldn't go together.
So like you kind of put your own touch on each bike.
I do, yeah. I don't really follow a certain guideline of somebody else. I've never had instructions to do what I do. I've never had, somebody say, all right, well, to build this, you need to do this, this, and this. I kind of,
just kind of figure it out as you go.
sporadic. I throw it together as I need to.
And honestly, I feel like that's the best kind of product because first of all, you're building it and you don't know what you're getting. So at the end, it's gonna be a surprise for you.
Yeah.
And for the person who you're giving it to.
Exactly.
However, when you're working on the bike, what do you think is the most important step that you should never miss? What was the most important thing?
Torquing your bolts, especially if you're working on a motor.
100% knows what that.
Torquing your bolts.
All right,
Definitely do that.
Okay. When you're
What is that like? Just tying in the screws?
So you use something like a torque wrench, and basically you're putting pound-feet of torque on the bolt. So in a motor, making sure that everything is torqued specifically for what it is. Your piston rods, your crankcase, your.
So what would be the case if one of those torques were?
what's the worst thing?
You're gonna get a piston in the testicles.
Okay, so something shoots up your balls.
Jeez.
All right, well that's
Okay,
that's definitely the most important.
Torque your bolts, guys.
No good sound.
And hook up your brakes.
Yes.
Between those two things.
Yeah. Okay. So our last, I'm doing well's talked about his writing process. He talked about how when he hears a beat and he doesn't know what to do, he'll go on a walk. He'll take a shower. He'll listen to the beat, but he'll do everything sort of to find what he's trying to create. My question to you is, what's your creative process? Like, what is when you're designing a bike? Because you said you don't follow a set plan.
Yeah.
But how do you come up with the bike that you want?
So I always have everybody that I know that is doing something like this, creative, building things or doing whatever it is, they kind of have a set guideline and they have an idea. I'm kind of one of those people where I think of little things here and there and I go in, I draw it, I design it, using CAD or something like that. I get the idea down. I guess my process is the fact that I don't have a process.
I like that.
Yeah, so I don't, necessarily say like, hey, all right, this is what I want to do. I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. This is how this is gonna go together. Blah blah blah. I just start building and I go from there.
So you don't really plan at all. You just kind of like go at it, right?
No,
I love that.
It's sporadic. It's
That's
whatever
awesome.
comes up.
I think that's great because that's exactly like how I am as a person.
Mhm.
When it comes to anything creative, I just kind of go into it, no exceptions, no planning, and it just turns out however it turns out. You know? So seeing someone be able to do that with like something huge, like a big piece of machine like this, because like there's a lot that's involved in it.
Yes.
So first of all, that shows your experience and how long you've been doing it, and second of all, it shows your creative ability for you to just be able to like kind of put something on the fly or like as you go. So I commend you for that. That's admirable stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I mean,
it's,
Okay. All right. Let's now we're getting technical, but let's get something fun. Like, what's your ultimate dream bike? Like, what do you, if you had to build a dream bike from scratch? How fast do you want it to go? How the weight, the tires, the handlebars.
So all right. So
all right, run us through it.
right now, I'm working on a prototype for my own brand of motorcycles, and it's in the design phase. There's nothing concrete, nothing in person yet, but it is, I guess, one of my dream bikes. I don't necessarily have a dream bike. I like riding everything. When I buy bikes, I buy them and I post them for sale the second I get them. And the reason why is I get bored of things fast. And I'm sure you guys do too. Once you use it, you keep using it, you want something new.
Yeah.
So I always sell my personal bikes, this, that, and the other thing as I can. So that way I don't get bored of it. I can always circle back. I love cruisers. I love sport bikes. I love bobbers. I love choppers. I like wide tires, stupid things that you would never want to get on, but you get on it anyway.
Why is it dangerous?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the fun in it, right?
Exactly.
Living life on the edge.
Exactly. So that is a wide tire front and rear bobber. It has a 127 cubic inch Harley Davidson motor, and then there's another one that will have an electric motor.
Interesting.
Low, wide, and with my past experience with carbon fiber, I found out how to integrate carbon fiber and wood. So it looks like it's wood, but it's actually got the strength, rigidity of carbon fiber and whatnot.
Yeah. So
okay,
like,
it's very interesting. It's really cool, actually.
Because I know that carbon fiber usually just goes on like metal, like on a piece of car.
Oh yeah. But before that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I started from raw fabric and then doing vacuum chambers and resin infusion and building the part from just a fabric to what you see.
Yeah.
But being able to integrate the wood into that and make it looks like wood, but it's actually just a decoration on top. It's actually carbon fiber.
So like wood grain.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I can do everything to make it look wood. The frame, the rear fender, front fender, the tins, a lot of different things, and to do like custom pinstriping and whatnot. So I do have a name for it. It's against my better judgment, but I'll tell you guys, I'm going to do driftwood bobbers. And it's going to be all wood with the Harley motor and everything. And I'm going to move it out to the beach and sell them as driftwood bobbers.
All right, now when you go to design a bike, you're getting pieces. Are you getting pieces from like a specific spot that you go to, or is it maybe like you hit up junkyards, or is it like whatever you find, or do you have a place that you go to?
I have a couple of good friends in the industry that I can go to for parts and things like that. A lot of times I make my own parts, so I do melting,
So you weld too?
aluminum, and then creating like a foam die cast, putting it in sand and pouring the aluminum into it to create the part, and then you get it out and you fabricate it and you sand it. It works great if you guys are looking to hardtail your motorcycle. That's a great way to set your suspension after you take it out. That way you can hardtail it if you can't find the right size, or get yourself a pipe and drill some holes or something. But creating tanks and things like that. I do have a friend who's a really good TIG welder. I'm not a good welder, guys. Just letting you know, I sub all that stuff out because safety and whatnot. But I create the die cast and the pieces for it, and make it like a one-off. Another guy in the industry. He's actually here in Westchester, owns a shop. He takes his bikes down to like Sturgis and things like that. He does custom building. He's taken home the motorcycle trophy at like SEMA for the past like 3 years for first place for custom builds.
Wow. 3 times in a row?
3 times?
I don't know if it's in a row.
3 times in a row?
Yeah, it might be, I don't know. But he makes some pretty cool stuff, so working with him a little bit and talking with him. But the technology end of things is where I want to get into, because right now I'm working on a lot of the carbureted bikes or fuel injected whatnot, and that's kind of all pre-done. And I want to be able to integrate a lot more technology into my bikes.
When you're working on a bike, is there like something that tells you that maybe it's gonna malfunction when it's finally built, or is that something that you figure out once the bike is completely done and then you take it for like a test drive?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of want to mitigate the problems before they happen, and you can't do it always. Sometimes there's problems here and there, but building your motor is taking it slow and looking at what you're doing and putting the pieces together. And when you get frustrated, you back off. You take some time. If you're looking at a bike, you take it apart like a frame, and you start seeing rust. It's
not good.
It's always great.
Okay, what technologies do you use to mitigate the risk, to lessen the risk, or to see? Because nowadays, especially with bikes like this, if it's too heavy, if the weight isn't distributed right, it won't ride right. So how do you determine those things? What technology have you used in the past? What do you, all those sort of stuff?
Well, weight balancing is important, and that's more of a feel thing. If you strap it down, you put it on the table, and you get it up in the air, and you're putting it together, and let's say, so you're putting on a different style oil tank or a different style, gas tank. One of the biggest problems that some of my clients run into is they have the 2-piece gas tank, similar to how these guys are. They have a tank on one side and the other, and they're linked by a tube. If you get a bike that's a little bit older, and this was something that I learned kind of the hard way, one of the tanks was clogged. So I would have a full tank on one side, and I'd be using the gas on the other side, and then after a little while, the bike's off balance. And let's say, you're going down the road, your hands hurt, you take your hands off to, just do this, and you're coasting, and then the bike starts leaning on you and you don't know what to do. That's a bad thing. Definitely check to make sure that, if you get a bike and it's been sitting for a while, that's an easy way to mitigate balancing. Tires balancing, definitely those are important. That'll definitely shake your weight up a little bit.
So we kind of have time for just one more question, and I want to make this question specifically to people who are inspired by you, by what you do, and are looking to maybe open up their own bike shop and start building their own bikes. Give them some motivation, kind of like let them know how it's gonna be. What's your one tip or one piece of advice?
My one, okay, so
to help people get started.
You can't have good days if you don't have bad days. You're always gonna have problems. There's always gonna be something that's tough. You gotta keep pressing forward on those bad days. You just have to keep looking at what you have, what's going for you, and stay positive and keep doing what you're doing. Let's say, you run into a bad day with a client, it doesn't work out like you want it to. Those things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
We're people. We're not machines. So, stay positive and just know that, the bad days, they have to happen. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to appreciate the good things in life. So when you get stuck and you're down on yourself, keep your head up and keep moving.
I like that. Awesome. Yeah, it was a pleasure, man.
Great meeting you guys.
You too, bro.
Pleasure. Well,
Exactly.
Go ahead, give yourself a shout out. Let people know where they can find you.
So, my name is John Wheller. You can find me on Facebook. You can probably find me out in Westchester. If you guys want to get a hold of me, you guys have any questions or interested in bikes or whatnot, feel free to hit these guys up. They'll get you in touch with me. Shout out to James. He's another builder over in Westchester. He builds antique Harleys and whatnot. And
You don't have like an Instagram or a Facebook?
not for the business.
No.
Not for business. Again, everyth's all
Personal.
word of mouth.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Well,
guys.
we'll have to work on that. You're Mr. Marketing.
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching episode 5 of Young Entrepreneurs.
It's a wrap.
Peace out.
Thank you guys.
All right.
That was dope, man.
Yeah.
I want to get this thing.
You're very technical, dude.
Yeah.
That's that is some technical.
Yeah, the toolbox isn't here yet. The shop's still coming together, but
This is the work
that's
area.
the motor for it down at the bottom shelf. That's what came out of it.
This thing right here.
Yeah, that's a little motor.
Dope.
Let's strip it apart.
I want to get some shots of the bike because those things are fucking
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah, the one with the cow stuff on it, that's an original Harley cow line. That's only 2,700 ever made. It's actual cow hide. It came like that stock.
Did you slaughter this cow yourself? Skin it and then just put it up.
Side business of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part-time motorcycle builder, full-time cow slaughterer.
Taxidermy. Actually.
It's dope.
Yeah, it's fun.
Engine looks clean. Well, is this the engine right here? Like
Yeah,
this
that
whole
is,
thing, right? These
this
are the
is your-
pistons, I guess.
Yep.
This is a
It's a V-twin, so it only has 2 cylinders, oil tank, crank, which has the rest of the oil, transmission, exhaust, obviously, and then this is the horn actually.
That's the horn?
Really?
That's it's a fucking awesome horn.
Can we hear it?
Yeah. All right.
Well, you're the one that sat right in front of the horn.
Dope, dude.
Yeah.
So out of these two, which one do you think you did a better job on? I'll give you my opinion, just kind of like.
I like this one. Oh, wait, sir. I like this one personally.
Okay.
This one I basically just went over when I got it. I didn't do anything crazy to it. This is a 2016 Softail Deluxe, and it was bought brand new and then sat in the garage. It only has 107 miles on it.
Do you have like a creative touch on this? Something that
Not really.
stands out? No,
No.
just okay,
No.
gotcha. I guess with that would be the cow skin or the cow.
No, that came stock.
Oh, really?
I just went through the motor and the carburetor and the gas system and cleaned everything up and got it back running again. I wish I had some of my custom stuff here. I'll have to send you some pictures.
Yeah,
and throw
dude.
on there some of the stuff that I've built.
For sure.